program contains immature and adult subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Still fucking what? And with real-life Bond villain Elon Musk beavering away on X, spreading a flurry of slurry across the Gooniverse, and Jeff Bezos crouched in a filleting position ready to receive the royal orange cock of the tax-dodging monkey.
Warning, the following contains images of animals in their natural habitat. Viewer discretion.
Dodging multi-millionaire felon who's now running the show, America is now a fully fledged autocracy.
Re-envisioned. The decline of the American empire. Next.
A prominent American right-wing activist has been shot. Details are still sketchy. Our speculation, wild guesses, and just have a pop correspondent, Jonathan Goodenough, has more. Yes, that's right, this horrible event has literally just happened, but people on the right are already pointing fingers. At the left.
This TV comedy show helped spell the end for press freedom in Russia. Kukli was a popular weekly television show in the mid-90s and early 2000s. It satirized Russian politicians, including the newly appointed president, a former KGB officer named Vladimir Putin. The show, which depicted Putin as a beastly baby or a dithering leader, was widely reported to be a major irritant to the Russian leader. The Kremlin went on the offensive against NTV, the independent channel that aired the show and its powerful owner, Vladimir Gusinsky. It was an opening salvo in a wider campaign to rein in NTV and Russia's independent media. NTV was taken over by an arm of Gazprom, the natural gas behemoth. Kukli was eventually taken off the air. Comparisons are imprecise. Different countries have different traditions of press freedom and the rule of law, but the script for cracking down on press freedom is a well-rehearsed one.
I want to talk about a really shitty little cubby hole in Queens, New York. I mean, this was a run-down part of New York. Even by, 1970s New York standards.
Born in Forest Lake, Minnesota, sir in the United States Army National Guard, a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, recipient of the Bronze Star Medal for Valor, a warrior, a leader, and a patriot. Please stand and honor your United States Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth.
What a douche. Can we hear that again?
Recipient of the Bronze Star Medal for Valor.
Oh, wait a second. He didn't fucking do that.
Got demoted from that rank as a result. Never deployed.
If you can't get your basic record right in the military, not only are you disserving the American people, you're dishonoring veterans who had that rank or who did stay in, who did go into combat. I think this is going to become an issue that won't go away. And by the way, you were talking about the media. The Hill tonight is still reporting the old story.
Yeah. Pete, is this a case of stolen valor?
This is a case of stolen valor, Sean. I don't say that lightly. It was all a lie, and that is absolutely stolen valor. And by the way, he likes to say he was in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. I deployed to Guantanamo Bay in 2004. We were not in combat. We were in support of what they're doing in Afghanistan because they were sending the Taliban over. I never claimed to be in combat.
A veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan.
They're all over the place.
Recipient of the Bronze Star Medal for Valor.
This is all words, though, Sean. Okay, I got more, though. Go ahead.
All right, so no.
The way Trump looks at it, he's at least better than everyone else in the race, beginning with John McCain.
A little bit. I mean, he was captured.
And he flew combat missions.
The question, does being captured make you a hero? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Well, the problem is on the left. If you look at the problem is on the left. It's not on the right, like some people like to say on the right. The problem we have is on the left. And when you look at the agitators, you look at the scum that speaks so badly of our country.
Total lie, and he knew it at the time, the entire time.
A veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. Recipient of the Bronze Star Medal for Valor. A warrior, a leader, and a patriot.
Men to combat if you care about those men. But if you don't, you care about yourself and politics, you stay home.
My question is this stolen valor, John Solomon?
Listen, it's a lie to the American people, and it's a dishonor to every person who served in the ranks and actually deployed.
Recipient of the Bronze Star Medal for Valor.
Exit, yes or no? Stolen valor, Pete?
Of course, absolutely.
Thank you both.
Recipient of the Bronze Star Medal for Valor.
They're out there on the street, in this little cubby, was a podiatrist. Not important, not of any note whatsoever.
Saying she's going to go after hate speech. Is that, I mean, a lot of your allies say hate speech is free speech.
Should probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. If they're 97% against, they give me only bad publicity or press. I mean, if they're getting a license, I would think maybe their license should be taken away.
I don't think this is the last shoe to drop. This is a massive shift that's taking place in the media ecosystem, and I think the consequences are going to continue to flow.
When you have a network and you have evening shows and all they do is hit Trump, that's all they do. If you go back, I guess they haven't had a conservative on in years or something, somebody said. But when you go back and take a look, all they do is hit Trump. They're licensed. They're not allowed to do that.
The NTV and Kukli saga in many ways set the template for how an authoritarian leader can muzzle the press. And many Russian observers say the pressure campaign that sidelined Jimmy Kimmel resonates strongly with Putin's effort to bring the press to heel. It's not only in Russia. In Hungary, experts say autocratic Prime Minister Viktor Orban used business incentives and legal measures to bring independent media outlets in line. And in Serbia, the government of President Alexander Vučić and his allies used what press freedom advocates describe as a combination of legal threats and a public smear campaign to intimidate journalists.
Your Vice President, Vance, said that free speech is under attack in the UK. Do you agree with him? And Prime Minister, we saw the dismissal of a very well-known chat show host in America last night, Mr. Kimmel. Is free speech more under attack in Britain or America?
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent. For a form of hate speech, so maybe they'll have to go after you.
But of course, he was white, and like all the people in the neighborhood, damn sure in his building, because his landlord, the owner of the building, was a future president's daddy.
This was a beautiful thing that happened in Washington because we showed that it could be done. And this wasn't just sending big, strong guys, and they are big and they are strong, physically fit, having a certain ability, not a person that is woke and got the job through woke.
And then when it comes to Trump's own military service, well, there isn't any. Trump got 4 deferments to avoid being drafted in the Vietnam War. One of them was for bone spurs in his feet.
But it wasn't strong enough to lift a gun out of the holster, et cetera, et cetera. No, I looked at the police. As you know, last week I went over, we had a meeting with, there had to be 300 people, and they were all very impressive looking.
Back in 2018, the daughters of the now deceased Queens podiatrist who gave Trump that bone spurs diagnosis, they said that their father gave that diagnosis to Trump as a favor to Trump's father.
He was too weak to carry a bazooka, so instead they had to give him a bazinga. It was so sad. So very sad.
By the way, I need you to write my son a letter. There's no evidence this doctor ever even saw Donald Trump. And that's because he didn't.
In exchange for that get out of the draft free card, the family of the podiatrist say the podiatrist got better treatment as one of Trump's father's tenants.
Have any evidence to back that up? Well, the victim was very right-wing, so it seems just common sense that whoever shot him was on the left. Common sense? Yes, and we're getting more and more reaction that backs that up.
Family says they don't even know if Trump was ever even examined for his alleged bone spurs.
And medical fascism. This is tyranny. When do we get to use the guns?
Commentators and politicians on all sides are attacking the left of this heinous act of violence against a man who was simply engaging in debate.
We have to talk about this incredibly destructive movement of left-wing extremism that has grown up over the last few years, and I believe is part of the reason why Charlie was killed by an assassin's bullet. Celebrating that murder, apologizing for it, and emphasizing not Charlie's innocence, but the fact that he said things some didn't like, even to the point of lying about what he actually said. Many of these people are creating an environment where things like this are inevitably going to happen. So when you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer.
Rather a polarising figure though, wasn't he? He was extremely intolerant of minorities and often made statements. Whoa, what are you doing? Just trying to give a bit of context. Are you mad? People don't want context, they want blood. Well, hasn't there already been enough? No, not his blood, other blood.
Donald Trump had already gotten his college deferments. And those were out now. And he wasn't doing so good in school. That's why they had to hire all those people to do his tests for him. But in this case, just like his daddy before him, and his daddy before him, hell, it's a family tradition. Because they don't believe in anything. 4 generations in a row refused to serve their country.
They want revenge on the people who did this, and that includes anybody who tries to justify or excuse it. Giving context isn't justifying or excusing it. You just try telling them that. Everyone from the president down is saying that violence is not the answer, except now when it totally is.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago.
We are going to channel all of the anger that we have over the organized campaign that led to this assassination to uproot and dismantle these terrorist networks. It is a vast domestic terror movement. And with God as my witness, we are going to use every resource we have at the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and throughout this government to identify, disrupt, dismantle, and destroy these networks and make America safe again for the American people. It will happen, and we will do it in Charlie's name.
4 generations in a row made sure that somebody else's kid had to go serve.
Time for a new segment we call, well, that all sounds like a bummer.
These are tough people in many cases. A lot of young men, strong men. It's actually mostly young men and a lot of rough people.
When you look at that caravan and you look at largely very, big percentage of men, young, strong.
He's young, he's strong.
As a matter of fact, 4 generations in a row made sure that it was some colored boy that had to go in their stead. Or some Jewish boy had to go in their stead.
A strong man came up to me, tough kind of a guy, and said, I want to thank you, Mr. President, for saving our country. And he had tears coming down his eyes. Men that were tough and strong, they'd see me, their tears coming down their eyes. A man came up to me and he was crying. Strong man, big tough guy, but he was crying.
He was a big tough guy, but also a crybaby.
Hell, they even had that famous Madison Square Garden America First Nazi rally paid for by the Nazi Party in Germany. Actual Nazi officials at the damn thing. And guess who was there?
Actually, I think we're just getting some breaking news. Jonathan? Yes, it appears that the suspect may not actually, in fact, be left-wing, although he might once have spoken to a trans person. Is that the same thing? Apparently.
No, it's funny, because a lot was going on right around the time right after the war. It was real busy in Queens. There was a couple of Klan rallies right there in New York City. Guess who got arrested? And not for protesting.
Not a person that is woke.
We don't have all of the answers yet, but it appears that he comes from a very Republican family and may actually have been even more right-wing than the man he shot. Is that possible? Unfortunately, yes.
He got arrested for busting heads of people who were protesting. As a matter of fact, of a Jewish boy.
His words, to be precise, were that he had attended many, many dignified transfers. For the record, in September of 2020, there had been 96 dignified transfers since Donald Trump took office. President Trump attended 4 of them.
Or he could just be some sort of nihilistic anarchist whose brain was broken by internet memes and just wants to watch the world burn, right? Or maybe even a time traveller sent back from the future to try and prevent an even greater tragedy. But this is all speculation at this point.
Of course, he paid his way out. Just like he paid his son's way out. Just like his daddy had done and his daddy before him.
In this condition, I said, hey, saw bones, I'm just carrying on an old family tradition.
Radicals on the right as well. We have radicals on the left. People are watching all of these videos and cheering. Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime.
Okay, and what's been the reaction to this news? People have started to pivot more towards mental health and indoctrination. How could this nice young man, white man, goes without saying, get involved in such a horrible crime? We shouldn't necessarily want to sympathise, but we should try to understand.
That was a day of love from the standpoint of the millions, it's like hundreds of thousands. It could have been the largest group I've ever spoken before. That was a day of
I don't know
love.
if the dudes who brought zip ties to hold Nancy Pelosi hostage. We're all about that Coachella vibe.
They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street.
Okay. And what about the revenge against the left? Oh, that's still very much on the agenda, even though they may have had nothing to do with it. Yes, but some of them were insufficiently upset online, which is basically the same thing.
Some of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why?
Is that not their freedom of speech? Well, the right might say that there's still freedom of speech, just not freedom from consequences. But isn't that the exact argument that the right used to hate when it came from the left? Yeah, funny how things go, isn't it? Thank you, Jonathan.
You are, as of right now, respected more than any army anywhere in the world, and that's happening, and I can tell you, you are respected like nobody can believe.
He says, can't you just shoot them?
No, they've done very bad things to this country. They are indeed the enemy from within.
Stop as Keir Starmer welcomes Donald Trump to the UK in the same week that he sacked Peter Mandelson for being too close to a billionaire paedophile who was Donald Trump's best friend. We ask, why is being the close friend of a billionaire paedophile a problem for the ambassador, but not for the president? And who's going to be the first journalist to bring that up at a press conference?
Lion, Kamala Harris, lion.
Comrade Kamala Harris, she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
I'm a better looking person than Kamala. My beautiful Christians, I love you Christians, I'm a Christian.
Now they have Kamala, who they say has many deficiencies, but she's a nasty person. The way she treated Mike Pence was horrible.
You sent an army of toothless goons to hang him.
So you have both the shell casing that directly references transgenderism, and in fact, Charlie Kirk was murdered moments after he was asked a question about transgender mass shootings, and that's when the shooter filed it.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them.
And so, do we have conclusive proof at this case?
Well, hold on,
no,
Senator.
But I will say this. Some of the most disturbing polling numbers that I see are the number of Democrats who believe that
Senator,
this left-wing activist was somehow a Republican. I mean, that really shows the media not doing the job they should be doing.
Doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. It's demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
The radicals on the left are the problem, and they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy. Although they want men and women sports, they want transgender for everyone, they want open borders.
We all know the story, we all know the score, we all know what the deal is. Republicans know what the deal is, they just don't give a fuck about anything either. They say they're patriots, but I don't see them rushing out to defend America. They'll rush out to defend Trump. You bet your ass they will. But none of that's the point. Sorry I wasted your time this whole time. The point of this video is, what I really want to talk about is Operation Midway Blitz.
This is a Democrat hoax that never ends.
Operation Midway Blitz? Are you serious?
It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats. It's a Democrat hoax. It's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax.
The Jeffrey Epstein hoax, too, because that's another hoax that's frankly put out by the pushing the Republicans and put out by the Democrats.
The whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats. That's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bull.
A Nazi term coined by the leader of the Luftwaffe, that fat fuck that managed to kill himself and get out of getting hung after the Nuremberg trials. Sidebar to that, it was a stupid Texas farm boy that got tricked into getting him his cyanide. Because Texans are stupid.
Republican Congressman Thomas Massey and Democrat Ro Khanna have been trying to force a vote demanding the DOJ release all the Epstein files.
Both the GOP leadership here in Capitol Hill and the White House have been launching an all-out campaign, a pressure campaign to get Republicans to back off of that discharge petition. The White House went so far as actually to call it a hostile act in a statement if anyone signs on to that discharge petition.
Is it your understanding the White House is whipping against the vote? That was reporting today, but has that been clear to you?
Oh, absolutely. I've talked to the person who's doing the whipping. I've seen the texts being sent to my colleagues. They are trying very hard to keep this from getting the requisite number of signatures to force them.
Jeffrey Epstein's accusers joining lawmakers on Capitol Hill today calling for more transparency in this case. 10 of Jeffrey Epstein's accusers are demanding the release of all of the Justice Department's Epstein files.
I love how they put Midway in there because, you know, Midway. Operation Midway. And the Great Mariana's Turkey Shoot. You know, that kind of thing.
Big, strong guy.
Operation Midway. Blitzkrieg. This isn't trolling. He's letting us know who he is.
And the pressure campaign from the White House does not seem to be working. Several Republicans appeared at this press conference demanding the full release.
Like Maya Angelou was fond of saying, if somebody tells you who they are, believe them the first time. I'm Zachariah Lone Star Liberal. And if you don't see a connection between that podiatrist who made sure that yet another generation of Trumps would never, ever have to serve their country a day in their lives, is directly connected to Operation Midway Blitzkrieg. I mean, are you fucking serious?
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society. We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
Only on Netflix.
This is the Attorney General of the United States, the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States, telling you that there is this other category called hate speech, and of course the implication is that's a crime. There's no sentence that Charlie Kirk would have objected to more than that.
Tears coming down his eyes.
You hope that a year from now, the turmoil we're seeing in the aftermath of his murder won't be leveraged to bring hate speech laws to this country. And trust me, if it is, if that does happen, there is never a more justified moment for civil disobedience than that, ever, and there never will be.
The Army and West Point is gonna cancel that award that they were gonna give, that liberal hippie Tom Hanks, that Hollywood progressive who, all the troops just adore, and he's gone on so many USO tours it's impossible to count, and of course the 101st Airborne Easy Company, those guys would lay down for him. That guy. Can't go to West Point.
Go home and take a nap.
Tom Hanks isn't the first victim of Donald Trump's blitzkrieg, and he damn sure won't be the last. I'm Zachariah, Lone Star Liberal. Good luck, J.D. Vance. You're next. The heir apparent. Right. And if you believe that, well, hell. You just might be the vote. Or maybe the village idiot. So often those are the same thing.
Republicans that I never questioned that their sincerity or their belief in the American system. And I think with the administration the way it's been, I think I'm not sure the man has took his oath seriously to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. From my perspective is that there is fear and outrage and xenophobia has been commoditized.